Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Dodgers Dogs is part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Holt, as I am each and every Wednesday and Friday. Coach, I'm going to go there right off the bat. Call it an excuse. Call it what you want. It feels like the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers last night. What I mean by that is you have 10 games in 10 days. Super tough series against Arizona. You come back home and it's just totally flat.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was easy to see from the get-go there. You know, even though it was 0-0 till the third, yeah, I agree, Case. I mean, the Dodgers, you can just tell that was a tough, grinding series with the D-backs. Takes a lot out of you. You got another pitcher going the DL and IL, whatever they call it nowadays. But, you know, so you could just tell, you know, and Knack didn't have it. I mean, we only walked one hitter. But giving up 18 hits, it's going to be hard to win. And I know the first thing everybody's going to say, first thing I would have said until I looked at what was actually going on, hey, Hazer, they're terrible, like we said last time, Case.
Yes.
They're 22-20. I mean, these guys aren't bad. I mean, we don't.
And they hit.
And just because we don't know, now we know who the Wilson kid is. We remember him playing against OSU.
Oh, yeah.
His dad, Jack, coached him at Grand Canyon. So we do know who that kid is. What a great talent that is.
Yes.
He'd look good in Dodger blue one of these days, but we'll talk about that some other time. But anyway, he had a big night with hits, but it was just – you could see it coming about that time, you know, rolling into that inning. And then once they got it rolling, like anything else you see in sports, once the A's got it rolling, it was hard to stop it, and we didn't stop it.
Yeah, and it got even flatter as the A's kept continuing to lead. You know, I kept thinking, well – all right, the Dodgers are fine. They'll do what they normally do and then wake up about the 6th or 7th inning, and the A's will really have to hold on to their ass down the stretch, and we'll see who wins and who doesn't. And that run just never happened. But you talk about Wilson last night. That dude's just he is a phenomenal baseball player. Moratorium on him, Coach, although we really like him because, like you said, we got to see him quite a bit. Great kid, really great player. But Landon Knack, weird. I mean, he had swing and miss stuff that he doesn't normally have. But then he just made a couple of bad pitches to Wilson. Not necessarily even that bad. The fastball up was right in the top of the zone. Landon does that quite a bit. He threw kind of a little change-up type deal to the bottom of the zone. Got a little bit probably too much of the plate. But 2 pitches he'd like to have back. Other than that, there was a lot of things in there that was like, boy, that looked really good. That looked really good. And then the parts that weren't good were like really not good. So it was just kind of a helter-skelter deal for Knack.
Oh, no doubt about it. It said – I think in career high on 8 Ks. I mean, he had, like you said, a lot of swing and miss for him last night. But you know, it's just one of those things. Once he wasn't, it's like you said, it's hard to explain. He strikes out 8. He doesn't look that bad, but you know, and the thing about it, once a team gets it rolling, you know, not only were the A's scoring, the Dodgers are getting nothing on the other side. So, you know, as Gary Ward used to call it, the scoreboard pressure. Well, the scoreboard pressure kept getting worse the more the A's have scored. You're still at 0 or whatever they end up with. I guess they end up with 1 total. But, you know, that scoreboard pressure takes a hold there. And Knack wasn't horrible, but he wasn't very good either. And I think I think that's probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
But there's something – getting beat 11-1, but what I love when I watch young kids, I don't even know who the hell they are outside of Wilson, and watching young kids and the youthful and that exuberance. They're the old, what do you call them, the old battling A's, the old swinging A's back in the day of Charlie Finley. And that team's fun to watch, and I'm sure one of these points everybody's going to raid their roster, and hopefully the Dodgers will raid it with Wilson, but I'll shut up about that. I know that.
He is a good player.
Yes, he
is. They're going to Las Vegas. I think they have a different energy to him. Just kind of you just kind of can feel the breath of fresh air with the A's. You've seen the A's like the last 4 or 5 years, and it's been like it's been a funeral or something. And, and just last night felt different. Of course, it was a good night for them, but it did feel like there's a breath of fresh air for them.
Yeah, and they're in Sacramento. You know, I know that they're in a AAA ballpark. It's a nice AAA ballpark, but it is a AAA park. But I think it's like you say, Case. There's exuberance. They know where they're headed, and all the pictures we see of the stadium that's going to be in Vegas. That's a trip we need to make for a lot of reasons. But the glass, I mean, beautiful stadium. That they're on the closest strip of Vegas, and you know that's an exciting time for them. Finally getting a new stadium, getting out of the old stadium that's been needing to be gone for several years, but a lot of great history there. But it's time to move on. And like I said, they know what's in front of them. They're young, they're exciting, and like I said, even playing in a AAA ballpark for a couple of years isn't going to drag that out of them. They're an exciting team, exciting young team.
They very much so are. Springs, you talk about exciting young teams. Springs is anything but that. 32-year-old who has an ERA, been a good pitcher in the major leagues. I mean, ERA mid-threes, something like that career. As far as his major league career, he's a guy that I call last night a trap game. It's that game that after you come back from the the long swing, it's the A's. It's not necessarily a name that, of course, if you're a professional, every name gets you excited to play because like you said, every team's good. But if you come out and you don't do what you're supposed to, of course, the Dodgers did score one early on some good baseball, but a guy like Springs, you can look up and 7 innings are gone and you haven't scored since the second inning. I mean, that's just kind of what happened last night. Yeah,
a veteran guy that knows what he's doing, and they're all over the place, Case. We being fans don't necessarily know who they all are because we don't follow them. We follow the Dodgers. We have our tunnel vision on the Dodgers. We're baseball purists and fans, and we love the game, but we're not necessarily following these other teams. So a guy like Springs comes out, and he's a true professional. You can tell the guy's been in the battles before. He's not intimidated by Dodger Stadium or even the Dodgers, big three at the top of the order there. But, that's the guys. They're all over. You just, unfortunately, a lot of ours are going on the IL, but I guess that's something we'll talk about some other time. But.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to Roki Sasaki here in a minute. I've got a theory on that. But 6 hits, 2 walks, the big one, 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position. First of all, that goes to show you how professional Springs is.
Yep.
Second of all, it just kind of shows you the lack of focus is the wrong way to put it, but just maybe a certain lack of mental energy just because of the trap game aspect to the grind the Dodgers have been through. But does not matter who you're playing, doesn't matter, major league talent, AAA talent. If you go 0 for 12 and only get 6 hits and 2 walks on the night, you're not going to win that game. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, I guess Will and Conforto had most of those. Was it 6 hits? I think they had 6 hits between those two. I think we had 8 total, but I think that's what I saw. But anyway, Conforto,
yes, 8 total.
Conforto had a big night. And Will's been good all year. To be honest with you, I mean, he's been our most consistent hitter so far this year. When we just got to hope he don't wear down. He will. He's going to wear down because he has to catch. It's just normal. They've done a better job every year of taking care of him. But yeah, like you said, you space out 8 hits there. Like I say, two guys got 6 of them. You're not getting much out of some other guys. So that's tough to win anytime you play, and especially when the A's come in there and hit you in the mouth and continue to hit you in the mouth for 5 or 6 innings there.
I won't say surprised, but this is going to sound really weird, but it was kind of, just from a baseball perspective, it was kind of fun to watch a young team not be scared whatsoever of the Dodgers. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying there? It was like, oh, wow, these dudes don't give a rat's crap who the Dodgers are, right? I mean, I think that'll wake the Dodgers up.
No, that's kind of what I said earlier. I totally agree with you. It's as a baseball guy, like I know you are, and a lot of our Dodger dogs are, you love to watch that exuberance, when you see the kids come out and men playing a men's game, but there's still those guys out there. I know there's still those guys out there. I believe in my heart that would play for nothing. And especially a young kid who's just come up and he's in the big leagues. And I agree with it. They did not care. They did not give 3 you-know-whats who's on the other side. There were 3 MVPs, Hall of Fame players we got right there at the top of our order, and they could care less. It's a baseball game, and didn't matter what it said across the front. Like you say about here in Oklahoma, we got the Dale Pirates, Class 2A. Yeah. And they go in and play a 6A team. They could care less. It's just a baseball game to them. It doesn't matter what it says across the shirt. They're playing baseball. They're going to give everything you got. It's great to see that on the major league level. These young kids, they're like, whatever. We're here. Look, here's Dodger Stadium, man. There's some movie stars over there. This isn't Sacramento. We're out of Sacramento for a while. Good Lord, look at all these stars here. There's Magic Johnson. They just kick their ass. You're right, Casey. It's refreshing, yet I just wish we weren't on that end. If I was watching the A's play somebody else, I'd be like, damn, I love these guys. As a baseball purist, I love watching that, but I don't like taking an 11-1 ass kicking either.
No, I have zero animosity to the A's, though. I hate to see any franchise be as bad as they were. It's not good for the game of baseball. So just kind of my baseball hey, the Dodgers are going to win the NL West probably. They're going to win 100 games, whatever. I've seen the Dodgers lose before. I just, it was kind of in a weird way. It was kind of refreshing for me to see that breath of fresh air for a franchise that absolutely needed it. So Dodgers fans are probably just turning it off as I continue to talk about the A's. So I will move on to some of the silver linings from last night, because we're not going to sit around and dwell on on one game out of 162. These things just absolutely happen. The best teams in baseball are going to lose to the worst teams in baseball, and it's going to happen on a way more consistent basis, I think, than people realize. Okay, the silver linings. Sunday was an absolute clinic on hit the ball to the opposite field gap, how to use the middle of the field, how to have a great hitter focus before the slug focus. And then you come out last night and your first run is on a double from Chris Taylor. And then Shohei Ohtani moves him over with a fly ball. Mookie Betts scores. Chris Taylor with a ground ball to shortstop. And then Will Smith has a great two-strike at bat. And I'm like, hot dang, man, here we go again, playing some great offense. So at least that was a silver lining, the way that you saw the Dodgers play offense for the only run last night, and then also Sunday.
No, it's exactly correct. You know, the winning baseball plays. We saw it Sunday and started out the game like that yesterday. But like I said, again, you know, it's great to move runners and score them, but the farther you get behind, that kind of goes out the window. It's like a basketball game. You know, I mean, it's the more you get behind, you know, you can't, you know, not that you're sitting there swinging for 3-run homers, but your mentality's changed a little bit. Not that these guys don't panic. You know, you don't panic in these major league ball players, but they also know the score. They also know where they are and what they have to do. So, no, it's I think I texted you all. Some of us dogs texted each other, Coach Barrakoff and Austin and Mark, our new guy, Mark Watkins, texting yesterday, and we talked about, you know, I'm a firm believer in that opposite field gap where hitters are locked in, boom, boom, boom. And I think I said to all you guys, and Coach Barrakoff got a kick out of it. I wish it lasted forever, but it don't. These hitters, that's why the hitters work every day. That's why they're doing their tee work, their soft toss, their front toss. That's why they work every day, because hitting just comes and goes. You know, even for the greatest hitters in the world, they have to work at it every day. You're just sitting there as a coach going, man, it'd be nice, you know, if you keep that locked in for 162, but it ain't happening. But it is great to see when you see these major league players do that. They all know how to do it. There's just no surprise. They can do whatever they want with the bat. They're that good at their craft, and you know, you just like to see them get locked in there. But you know, it's as we say many times, and everybody knows this isn't rocket science. It's hard to be good in baseball. These are the best guys in the world, and it's even harder for them. And they got to work their ass off to stay where they are.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. As you get behind the playing for one run, the hitting behind runners, the hitting for sac flies, you can't do that because you need like 5 runs. It's kind of like running the ball in football. It's a great philosophy as long as the game's close, but what happens when you get down 3 touchdowns and you got to score 21 points in 6 minutes? I mean, you can't run the ball anymore. You got to throw the ball because you don't have time. That's a great point there. So another silver lining out of this is that you got behind so fast and it became apparent you weren't going to lose so early in the game that you're able to go a little bit down staff. Luis Garcia, J.P. Fireeisen, Anthony Bonda had a good bounce back. So you still have whatever bullets are left in the bullpen. You still have the A-team bullpen.
No, that's right. They handled that well. Coach, Dave Robertson and staff handled that well to get some guys in. Friars didn't just get off the plane from Oklahoma City and get some more work in there. And he's been up and down. And I don't mean in his performance, but from Oklahoma City to L.A., he's been up and down as far as being called up. But no, they kind of were able to stay away from some guys and be smart about it. They got Miggy Rowe in there last inning. Go up a couple of bombs. Who cares? He's eating up an inning there to save it. That there's the old domino effect. That's going to pay off later this week. We'll see it. It'll pay off next week. Just hope we get away from some of those things. So that was you're right. That's a silver lining in that.
More silver linings. Michael Kopech looked good in his second rehab outing Sunday in Oklahoma City. I don't think he walked anybody, and he threw like 18 pitches, 14 were strikes, something like that. After his pretty disastrous first outing, which is rehab. But I saw Walker Buehler not get an out his very first outing in Oklahoma City. That's Walker Buehler. That actually happened. He walked like 5 guys, and they had to take him out, and they turned the radar gun off his next outing, and he had a good out. So trust me, I've seen in AAA guys weird things happen. So the Kopech deal didn't bother me the first outing. It was just kind of I've seen that before.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see Kopech throw really good his last outing. So that was a second rehab outing. We need Michael Kopech back. And then another silver lining, definitely, Clayton Kershaw is coming back this weekend. The velo is down, but the movement is good. The location's great. And the Dodgers just need pitching. And, hey, he's a Hall of Famer. He will figure it out. So at least to a certain extent. So there's a couple of silver linings too.
No doubt about it. Kershaw starting year 16. That's the old. You love seeing pitchers as they age. They become smarter. It's kind of like our parents. They always say the older you get, the smarter your parents get. But the same way with these veteran pitchers. Clayton could go out there, and probably, throw from 84 to 87 and still get hitters out because he's not going to be stupid. He's not going to try to throw it, center cut. He's not going to try to throw a bomb. He's going to set them. Because he has to, he's going to set them up more, use his pitching and use both sides of the plate and all that stuff. So, yeah, he knows where he's at. And like you said, Case is a Hall of Fame pitcher. That you can't replace. That experience, that knowledge that Clayton Kershaw walks out there with, you can't replace that, He can go out there, I don't want him throwing in the 70s, but he can throw. He's going to stay most in the 80s, but he'll do a good job of getting hitters out. If he makes a mistake,
touch 90.
Yeah, he'll touch 90, but he'll make a mistake. He'll pay for it. Everybody, the guys throwing 100 are going to do that crap. They make a mistake, they pay for it.
So score 5 or 6 runs.
Yes, but like I said, it's just there's a lot to just seeing you walk out on the mound for you at Dodger Stadium, seeing 22 in the clubhouse, knowing see him getting ready for his start. There's a lot. Yeah. That the other guys and the franchise and the fans, me and you and all the dogs can feel good about seeing Clayton Kershaw back out there. And, not just hoping for the best. We know he's going to give his best. It's not 90 plus. It's not 95 anymore. Who cares? We're glad to have him. As far as who you got to throw out there with the injuries you're facing, if you can say, well, we're getting kind of decimated. We got decimated on our starting pitcher. Oh, what the hell? Let's throw Clayton Kershaw in there. That's not a bad option. Plan B ain't bad.
Great point there, Coach. You're on fire today, man. Make like you always do. I mean, you must have had a lot of coffee this morning, right?
Some good coffee in my grandpa cup there. Hell, I'm rolling, man. Let's go, baby.
Some more silver linings. I'm probably making people throw up in their mouth after getting beat by the A's the way the Dodgers did last night. Ben Kasparius has looked good all year. He can be a starter. And then Justin Robleski, his last 2 outings, I talked to Robo Friday, made a few changes on his release point to make his slider a little bit better. And he's really concentrated on getting the breaking balls over the zone, wanting to kind of be just like Kershaw in the sense that a fastball slider type guy. That's the reason they're making the release point adjustments. But if you need to call the next guy up, and Noah Davis has looked good out of the bullpen. I talked to him. Matter of fact, I'm releasing his interview today. Noah Davis has looked good. Matt Sauer's been good. I think he can give you depth. But more so than that, Justin Robleski's looked really good in his last 2 outings, especially the last one. And you can have Ben Kasparius as a starter. So there are options.
Well, we're talking about recent history, recent memory. 2 years ago, we've talked about this before when the Dodgers were decimated. And those cats rolled out Oklahoma City, coming up and doing great things. The Dodgers won the division in a runaway. But even some to a little bit to a smaller portion last year, same way.
Yes.
So I think the big thing, you got to give the organization, Heaney and his staff in Oklahoma City, the guys in Tulsa, you got a major league manager of the year managing Tulsa. So it all goes together. They're preparing these kids to come up because they never know they're going to be there. Robo's on the cusp. We know that because he's shown signs that he's not going to quit working. He knows he's right there. Kasparius, those guys, that's a great – we talked about the A's while ago. We're bragging about them. Let's brag about our guys now. Get these young dudes that they know they're going to be needed. There's no doubt. They can look around. They're not stupid. They're going, crap, another guy goes down. I'm there. So I got to get ready. So that's a beautiful part about that is our kids come see. But we can't take for granted what the organization does, getting these guys ready. They're not totally ready yet, but they're getting great experience. But we're not here for moral victories. They're getting great experience while we're trying to win freaking games. So, they have the pressure to perform and to perform well. So that speaks volumes for, the kids coming up and the staff and the organization as a whole, how they're getting these guys ready. Knowing, as we talked about before the season started, Case, injuries are coming. It happens to every team. So
And also, the last silver lining, then we'll get to Sasaki and Yamamoto. Michael Conforto, 3 hits last night. Yeah. And we talked about, I loved how EK put it. Hey, he doesn't want to hear anything about this process crap. Everybody's been telling him, hey, the at-bats have been good. He's been hitting but he's like, yeah, but I need some hits, dude. That's great that I appreciate the support, but I need some freaking hits. So the process met the results last night. 3 hits last night. He was hitting from the opposite field gap to the pull side gap. He was hitting with 2 strikes. So it wasn't just the results of 3 hits. It was also, it felt like that process met the results. And that's typically speaking whenever you see a spark turn into a flame.
Yeah, this is a accomplished major league hitter. Conforto's been a good major league hitter his whole career. You know, I'm sitting there back of my mind thinking, is he going to be our Lux this year? You know, Gavin struggled last year in the first half.
Good point, Coach.
Second half, he was our guy. He was hitting 3-hole for a while. He was our best hitter for a while and had a great second half as the Dodgers won the World Series. And I know he's doing great in Cincinnati. I'm happy for him. Love the guy, you know, except when he plays against us now. But we all know how we feel about Lux. But maybe Conforto's that guy. You know, this is a Dodger dog, you know, hoping, you know, sitting here drinking my coffee on, you know, getting all fired up. But maybe he's that guy after the break. You know, it'd be nice to do that before. But, you know, he's too good. He's too good a hitter to stand the one. I can't imagine him standing the 170s, 180s the entire year. He's too accomplished as a hitter, and you can tell by watching him, he's still got left in the tank. But like you said, he just needs a few parachutes to fall out there. You know, there's something hit off the fist to have it drop over the third baseman. He just needs a few parachutes to fall in. He's tired of hearing about, hey, good cut, good swing, good hack. You know, got a line drive. Just hit it right at him. Don't worry about it. That's a bunch of crap. He's a major league hitter. He knows the score. So
at some point, it is.
I agree with him. At some point, he's tired of it. I don't blame him.
Yeah, man, you got to have results, and nobody preaches process more than we do.
Yep.
Because we're around the minor leaguers. It's all about the process. But, man, there's a time where you just got to go, you know what, I got to have some results here, man. Whew, and that's, you know, that's typically where you either figure it out or you don't, because you start pressing if you don't.
Yep.
Okay, so a little bit not as silver lining news, Roki Sasaki. Man, we've been talking 94 miles an hour, that the fastball had been just getting hammered. So I'm not doubting the fact that he has shoulder inflammation or whatever they're saying it is. But this just feels like an opportunity to reset this young man without having to publicly say we're demoting him to AAA. You know, you get to slow down. You get him to throw some sim games at Dodger Stadium, throw to some professional hitters, but yet not have to make that public statement. That may be a little bit too tinfoilish, but this is just how this feels to me.
There could be some. There's something to that case. I think we can see both sides of it. The velo's down. They said I guess he had more soreness than normal after his last start. So there's some concern. The Dodgers, obviously, it's a big investment, a big move they made in the preseason, in the off season. So there's probably a lot to that. But think about this young man here. He got signed, you know, start the season where? In freaking Japan, you know, against a really good Cubs team. He's thrown into the fire already. Hey, but that's what you expect. Listen, we gave you a lot of money. That, you know, you're every major league team on this guy. You know, he was wanted by everybody. So, you know, that part of it you got to just kind of go with. That was kind of something he had related to. But you look at him, and the kid, he looks like, of course, I'm an old man. He looks like he's 12 years old, and you look at his face, and you just want to go give him a hug, Case. The grandpa's coming out of me, the dad's coming out of me. I just want to go and give the kid a hug, saying, it's going to be all right, man. You can see the strain on his face right there. The talent's there. That's why everybody wants him. There's no doubt the talent's there. It could be a lot of what you're saying. Let's back him off a little bit. Let's sit down. Let's get the arm. Let's back off his arm a little bit. You know, work on the head a little bit right there. He's still going to look 12 years old when he comes out there, but we'd like to get him back up towards 100. And I'm sure Robert Stemmer are giving him hugs for us, so I don't have to drive out to L.A. doing it. He's a kid that you pull for, not just because he's a Dodger, because we're a Dodger dogs. You know, we're pulling for him, but if he's on another team, I'd see a kid, I'd want to go give him a hug. You know, he just has that look. So, I hope this should help him in health-wise and hopefully mentally.
Yeah, he's fun. He has fun energy. He has a very fun, positive, infectious energy, and those are the types of people that I want on my team. Those are the types of people that the Dodgers recruit, to be honest with you, and those are the type of people that you really definitely root for. Okay, So the Dodgers lost last night. They're at home. Yoshinobu Yamamoto gave up 5 runs in 5 innings his last time out at Arizona. Boy, this just smells like an ass kicking tonight by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This, of course, best laid plans, but it just feels like Yamamoto is going to go out and go, all right, boys, we ain't losing the freaking A's again. I know those damn Dodgers dogs are talking about how freaking good they are all morning long. Not tonight. It feels like it has that vibe to it.
That's a great thing about these young kids,
Yeah.
They got out of SAC, they're in L.A. Maybe they all went out and partied last night. I would have sent some money out there and helped them out.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. They did. They're smarter than that. They wouldn't be where they are. But no, I feel the same way. There's no way, Yamamoto, he'll have – you just expect him to have a big bounce back, and I'm sure he will. And, yeah, I feel the same way, The A's aren't going to get 18 hits every night, or they wouldn't be 22-20. They'd be 32-10, that type of stuff. So, I feel good about having Yamamoto on the mound, and we need him just the right time. I looked at the A's guys. He's 1-0. I don't know, is he just up? And the guy that started out, I couldn't even remember his name. But
I have not even looked, Coach.
I don't even know who the hell he is, but he's 1-0, so he hadn't been beaten yet. So it sounds like he needs to get his ass beat tonight.
Yeah, it sounds like a good situation to do it with. So, Coach, this has been a lot of fun. We're getting ready to take a trip down the farm. We have a huge down the farm segment. I mean, Oklahoma City had a big game. Hey, Tulsa had a huge game. They lost in 11 innings. They had a 5-1 lead. For the 12th time, their bullpen gave up a lead late in the games and then lost in the 11th inning after scoring 3 outs with 3 runs with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th to tie it up, only to lose in the 11th. And then Great Lakes had a really good game yesterday. Field trip day in front of the kiddos. Josue DePaula had another big day. Patrick Copen, a huge day. And then the Quakes down in single A scored 25 runs last night. So a huge day in the system last night. So we're going to get to that down the farm here in a minute, Coach. But last thoughts.
Like I said, we're not going to go nuts. We try to be analytical. I'm not an analytics guy, but when you get your ass beat like that, like you said, Case, you get the silver linings. What was shitty? What was good? It's what we're going to talk about, because that's the way it is. But there's nobody, running up a white flag anywhere, any stretch. So you just kind of look at it. What happened? Here's what happened. Hey, move on. Or back when I used to coach basketball, Coach Bearcock's probably done this. I burned a game tape one time. Went out in the parking lot and burned it up, or stopped it with my shoes. I've done it both. So we're not going to watch that. It does us no good to watch that crap. So the Dodgers, this is more, a little more analytical, a little more professional. They're going to watch all their bats. The hitters are. They're going to break down all their video from last time, because that's what they do and that's what they're capable of doing. So I feel good about it. We'll just move. It's one of 162, and there'll be some night here that we'll come over here, and we probably already have. Hey, they played like shit and they won. So that stuff happens. Right. So it all averages out in the game of baseball. That's a beautiful part about baseball. Average out.
Yeah, and one of those games where, as a coach, post game, I don't have anything to say. I'm not even mad. We're just going to punt this son of a bitch in the trash can and never think about it again. Then about the 3rd inning, when you make an error, by God, we did all this last night too.
That's coaches.
Coach, I thought we weren't ever talking about that again. Well, I'm tired of watching you guys make it.
How come you bringing up last night again, Coach? You said we're going to skip now. Well, we're all guilty of that, I'm sure.
Well, we were doing that until I saw an error in the 3rd inning.
That's right. We're taking a little good for 3 innings. Now we look like hell again. Yeah. We've all been there.
We've all been there, no doubt. Hey, Coach, it's great to see your face. I love you.
Love you too, Case, as always. I love our dogs and love our Dodgers. Can't wait to see Yamamoto take the hill tonight.
Absolutely. So, hey, don't go away. Next up, it's time to take a trip down on the farm. Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. As we do each and every Down on the Farm segment, we start in single A Rancho Cucamonga. Hey, the Quakes had an explosion last night. 25 runs they hung on the Inland Empire 66ers. It's always great to beat any kind of Angels in any kind of way that way, but 25 runs led by Samuel Munoz, you're seeing right here. Munoz had 4 hits last night for Rancho, 3 RBIs, scored 3 times. Munoz, sweet left-handed swing you see here, having a really good year. Munoz is hitting .291. He's hitting .316 this month, and he has hits in 4 games in a row. So again, just having a really, really nice year. This is Samuel Munoz again. So good to see him have a big night last night. in the 25-run explosion. And this is Miro Martinez. Martinez actually started the year in Great Lakes, probably just logistics. Got sent back down to the Quakes last week and got his first RBI last night with Rancho, then got his first home run right there. That is a big home run. 20-year-old from Curacao hitting .474. Martinez is with the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. OPS 1377. So definitely wanted to show you the good night last night from Miro Martinez, who is off to a very, very, very hot start for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. No doubt about that. And then also last night, the Dodgers' #1 draft pick from last summer, Kellen Lindsey, had a huge night. 3 hits and the 25-run explosion. And now Lindsey's hitting .277 overall. He has 3 multi-hit games in a row. So not only is Lindsey hitting good, he is very hot as well. And he is 7 for his last 15 with 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, and 7 runs scored. So when he gets on, he gets over, and he gets in. And he's been doing a lot of that lately, talking about the Dodgers' #1 draft pick from last summer. So it's always good to see Kellen Lindsey play really good. And then another, but maybe the hottest outfielder in baseball right now, Eduardo Quintero, who was the California League Player of the Week last week. The young man who leads the Quakes in home runs hit that one you just saw right there. That's his 7th home run. That leads the Quakes. Had 3 hits last night, 3 RBIs, walked twice, and scored 4 times. So what a great job that Eduardo Quintero is doing for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. He is on a very hot patch, and it's not just a hot patch. He is very good. Whenever he has speed like he does, and you can hit balls as far as he does, it's always a situation to where you're going to be a good player. So great job to Eduardo Quintero for the job that he has been doing. And so now we're going to move up to High A Great Lakes. Patrick Copen got the ball yesterday for Great Lakes, and he went 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, no walks. Been telling you about Cope for a while now. He is definitely a Rolodex dude. He threw 88 pitches, 57 for strikes. His slider had good depth. Cutter got under lefty's hands. Curveball worked from top to bottom. That changeup there is really nice. He pitched backwards. He threw to the top of the zone. He hit both sides of the corner, and he has his ERA now, Patrick Copen does, now down to 2.48, 52 strikeouts in 32.2 innings. So a great year for the young man who got hit in the eye, if you remember, in August of last year, lost his eyesight in his right eye. Instead of pouting about it or doing any of that, he just decided to go to his off season, get himself in a situation to where he could be a part of the 2025 season, and he has absolutely 100% done that. So great job, Patrick Copen. And then Mike Sirota, how about his first outing with the Rancho Cucamonga, with the Great Lakes Loons? I actually don't have the video up right here. The video's on a different computer. But Mike Sirota yesterday hit the first pitch that he saw in Great Lakes for a base hit. He had 3 hits, and now Mike Sirota is hitting .373 with an OPS of 1168. And how about this for a spray chart? His pull percentage is 39.2, his center percentage is 29%, and his oppo percentage is 31%. So great job, Mike Sirota, on just staying hot. Congratulations on, first of all, the call up to Great Lakes. It was well overdue, and he's just absolutely very good. And then another young man who's been very hot lately, young man that I really like out of Boston College. I like how he uses his hands. I like his athletic ability, period, and certainly for a big guy. This is Big Joe Vitrano out of Boston College. Actually played with Emmett Sheehan there in Boston College. He had 3 hits yesterday, a couple of RBIs, and he had 3 hits on Sunday as well. So back-to-back 3-hit days for Joe Vitrano. Not just the 3 hits, but he's 8 for his last 13. Vitrano is 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and he scored 5 times. So he's also driving the ball as well. So Joe Vitrano is starting to settle in. It was a slow start for him. It's good to see the young man, very talented hitter. Like I said, very good athlete. Good to see him get going here in 2025. And then Josue DePaula had another big hit. 2 hits yesterday, and a big day, I should say. 2 hits yesterday, 4 multi-hit games in his last 5. He has 5 multi-hit games in his last 7. And Josue DePaula is 11 for his last 32 with 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. So just know that Josue DePaula, he's doing things that I have never seen before, and he just continues to do them every single day. This is a young man that he's coming into his own right now. He is just absolutely dominating the Midwest League. We'll see if he gets a call up to Tulsa. Now that Mike Sirota is up with the Great Lakes Loons, they have a pretty big logjam in their outfield. And then Carson Hobbs, he came in last night, got the save, and did a really good job in front of the kiddos. Came in with the bases loaded, actually, in the 8th inning. Got a double play in the 9th inning, and has his ERA. This is a guy I talk about all the time. Rolodex dude, ERA down to 0.82. Whip just 0.73, and he has 13 strikeouts and 11 innings pitched. So, hey, just remember the name Carson Hobbs. Carson Hobbs is just a really, really, really good baseballer, a good pitcher, and doing a great job for Single A Rancho Cucamonga. So now, as we take our trip down, continue our way through the action down on the farm in the Dodgers system last night, have a lot to talk about today about the Tulsa Drillers. Hey, Tulsa got a 5-1 lead. They took that into the 6th. They could not hold on to it. 12th time this year, the Tulsa bullpen has squandered a lead. But then in the bottom of the 9th inning, Taylor Young hit a ground rule double to tie the game. They actually gave up the lead. No, actually, it was tied going in. It was tied at the end of regulation, so they went extra innings. So, in other words, Northwest Arkansas caught up 5-5. 10th inning, top of the 10th, Tulsa gave up 3 runs, and then Taylor Young hit this double with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning, and the Drillers scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 10th to tie it, only to lose in the bottom of the 11th inning. But it was a good night for T.Y. Taylor Young, the all-time hits leader from Louisiana Tech. He's hitting Taylor Young as he's getting hot. 290 so far this month, back-to-back 2-hit games. Last night had 3 hits, including his first home run of 2025. So it's good to see Taylor Young get started and get rolling for the Drillers. And we know whenever he starts getting rolling, he can really gather up a lot of hits. And this is a young man I should have probably talked quite a bit more about on Dodgers Dogs Down on the Farm, Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. This is John Rhodes, a young man the Dodgers got in the offseason, drafted in, I believe, the 3rd round, 2021 from Baltimore. John Rhodes, 3 hits last night for Double-A Tulsa. He also walked once and scored a couple of runs, and he's always a part of the action for Tulsa. So when they do win games and score runs, it seems like John Rhodes is always in the middle of it. Rhodes 274 OPS, 813. So definitely going to be talking more about John Rhodes for the Double-A Tulsa Drillers. No doubt about that, because he definitely has been very good, one of their best players on the team. So a situation to where the John Rhodes is a guy that's been very good, and I want to actually move up to AAA right here. Let me turn that off. This is a fun sequence right here. We're going to get to that. This is what you're seeing. Alex Freeland right here. He's going to hit a double to left field right there, and then right after him, you're going to see Dalton Rushing come up and hit a home run. So one of the top prospects in the Dodgers system in AAA, Alex Freeland hits a double, and then one of the top prospects in all the game of baseball, Dalton Rushing, he hits a home run, and then right behind him, maybe the best hitter in all the minor leagues, Ryan Ward. If I can get to it here, Ryan Ward, he hits a home run as well. Let me actually get back. He hits a home run as well. So that was a fun sequence for AAA Oklahoma City last night. No doubt about that. And so that was a lot of fun in Round Rock, and seeing the 3 big bats there. Of course, then you also have guys that we're getting ready to talk about, like a Michael Chavis, who had a really good night last night, a multi-hit game. Matter of fact, I'm going to get some video up on Chavis here just in a second, and we can talk about him for a minute. So Michael Chavis last night also had a multi-hit game. This is a young man that I'm going to release his interview this week, but super cool dude. He talks about his entire, just kind of his grind through the minor leagues, why he came to the Dodgers. You know, he in the past, he'd always chosen opportunity over development. Like, hey, does this organization have a better opportunity? This time he just said, you know what? I'm just going to choose the team I think can make the best version of me, despite the fact that he knew the Dodgers probably had the least amount of opportunity for him. He thought that much of the developmental system for the Dodgers. So that's why he chose them, and Chavis is having a good year. And another guy who came over for the Dodgers last year, Sam Carlson, he's having a good year as well for AAA Oklahoma City. And actually, Carlson last night, good outing, 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. Carlson, ERA down to 2.70. Average against it is 1.69, 21 strikeouts in 18 outings. So when Sam Carlson gets the ball in the strike zone, he is very good. His average against is like in the 160s. So really good stuff. He has a right turn with that sinker. He has a left turn with the cutter, and it is a really, really good setup for him. And like I said, when he's in the zone, he is very good. Bobby Miller cruised in his start yesterday through his first inning, cruised through the first 2 hitters of the second inning, and then like it has tended to do to him lately, it just went right downhill. And when it went right downhill, it just went downhill. That snowball just kept building, and he couldn't get it stopped. It's crazy how Bobby Miller can just be rocking along, and then there's a good changeup. He was mainly a 4-seam changeup guy last night. I'm on record. I'd rather see sinker cutter. And so he was north-south last night with the high-riding fastball, tumbling changeup. I'd rather him see east and west, sinker with the right turn, cutter with the left turn, but it is what he is. Predominantly 2 pitches, 4-seam and changeup. 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. So, again, was cruising and then hit that snatch and then just couldn't recover from there. So, hey, that's going to do it for today's Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm Casey Porter, and as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.